Gambia, the attic of African traditions and home of undiluted customs, forming the basis of a nation with a cultural trait never seeming to quench the edifying taste of its citizenry. The past, they say, is always been celebrated in the Gambia, with a population strongly attached to ways and values taken over from the olden days. This perhaps is why Gambians love cultural festivals and make the most of any break to showcase one's glorious traditions in order to attain the enriching fulfillment it provides. In traditional Gambian society, seasonal festivals reviving culture were quite a common occurrence, usually held to celebrate the joys of living, virtues of hard work, and the bounties nature provides. Coming in a loaded variety, the celebrations generally served various purposes, which can be anything from festivals to ask for abundant rain when drought occurs, and food is in short supply to the beginning of harvest, and even celebrations of common heritage and culture.
There were so many festivals which served to bring people together to sing their differences. There were festivals like, for instance, at harvest time when food is in abundance, festival after the growing season, the agricultural season, when there is very little to do. There were hunting festivals to try to call animals which destroy crops during the agricultural season. There were fishing festivals, all sorts of festivals.
So a lot of things were in tradition.
Yes. These were occasions for people to bring out their traditional cultural practices, whether in performance traditions actually. Okay. So they bring out masks, they show dance, singing, and merriment, and joy. To say thank God for the joys of living.
In 1996, the International Roots Festival was launched by the Gambia government under the aegis of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture and the National Council for Arts and Culture. The hallmark event fulfilled and brought into stark reality the best-selling novel and epic TV drama by African-American author Alex Haley, who traced his roots to the Gambia and ultimately made the pilgrimage to the village where his great ancestor Kunta Kinte was captured on the banks of the river and sold into slavery. Jufure, the hometown of Kunta Kinte, is now world famous, and Albreda, a settlement close by, including James Island, now renamed Kunta Kinte Island, a former British fort, have become UNESCO heritage sites, where tourists visit to revisit the past in one complete apparel.
I am very pleased and proud to say that for 15 years, my government has nurtured the International Roots Festival with the express purpose of building closer ties with peoples of African descent the world over, and to make them feel that the Gambia in particular, and Africa in general, is their true home. The festival remains a celebration of the varied cultures of the African people, and a forum where Africans in the diaspora and Africans on the African continent will interact and learn about each other. The Roots Festival provides one with the opportunity to have an insight into our history and socioeconomic strides and challenges, investments and business opportunities, and tourist attractions such as nature, culture, and cuisine. The project of African unity cannot be completed without the significant input of Africans living in the diaspora. This is precisely why we always value your participation in the Roots Festival as well as other cultural festivals. If Africa is able to marshal and canalize the efforts, resources and talents of our children everywhere, she would be a superpower in substance and outlook.
The International Roots Festival became a quick success, drawing hordes of African Americans and Africans from the diaspora to the Gambia to discover, reconnect, and re-embrace their ancestral identity on a cultural pilgrimage back to their roots in Africa. Here, Charles Guest unveils the result of an inspiration derived from the first visit he made to the Kunta Kinte Island, which stirred memories of his childhood in a country far away from his native home.
I went down in the little dungeon where they held the strongest Africans there, and I might add that a butterfly followed me on the boat all the way from Jufre to here, just right by my side, that I found very symbolic and because I played with caterpillars when I was a boy. And so that was like the whole thing that was about to occur that I had no idea that was going to happen when I arrived on this island.
Part of the events take effect in Kanilai, hometown of the Gambia's president, Sheikh Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya Jammeh, who is a great exponent of culture. The Kanilai experience adds immense measure to the cultural edification and activities marking the Roots Festival, and visitors are brought close to the most profound customs of the Gambia, as well as the varied heritage Kanilai has to offer. The festival recently observed its 10th year in February during the celebration of the Black History Month. The key highlights of the festival include spellbinding cultural displays, pilgrimages to the Kunta Kinte Island and Jufre Home of Roots, visits to historic and cultural sites, and the climax, which comes in the form of the Futampaf, the traditional Jola ceremony where participants experience rites of initiation.
It's like getting into the smaller boat really brought a reality, you know, with the rocking and just this group energy that was just soaring, and we could see the others that had already gone onto the island ahead of us, and then we had the ceremonial boats, I don't know if that's what they were called, with the drumming, and they came around, so they were just building this energy. And then when we got there, and all the dignitaries was there, Charles was there, and the first thing I did was to take off my shoes, because I actually wanted to stand barefoot, and I didn't even know if that was disrespectful or not, but that's really what I wanted. But most importantly for me, this is my hair, my locks. This is my second set. The first set I cut, and I promised that one day I would...
Like an identity.
Oh, for sure. I gave up the European-centric idea of beauty over in 1999, a long time
ago. Africa.
All the way. And I've built an Africa corner in my home, at home back in London, with carvings and everything. But more importantly, the locks that I cut in 2006, I saved them because I said one day I'm going to bury them here in Africa. And I brought them with me. I did that. And on James and now Kunta Kinte Island, I threw them into the sea.
I can see.
And really, I prayed, and it was so liberating, and it was overwhelming, very.
A takeoff from the roots, the Kanilai International Festival is arguably the biggest cultural celebration which takes place on the African continent, uniting people of dissimilar norms and ethnic backgrounds on a single platform to promote accord and understanding. When the frequency of the roots was altered, a cultural void was created in the national calendar. A cultural enthusiast and ardent Pan-Africanist, the president of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, introduced the Kanilai International Festival in a move to sustain the edifying momentum brought about by the Roots Festival. The festival takes place biennially in Kanilai, hometown of President Jammeh, and now alternates with the Roots. The best part of the festival features music, dance, wrestling, storytelling, masquerades, and mystical manifestation.
Our president is not only a Pan-Africanist, but also a cultural enthusiast. In fact, the other international festival we have, the Kanilai International Festival, was solely and initiated by him, and is wholly sponsored by him. It's his brainchild. What happened in around 2000, it became evident that because of resource constraint, we cannot hold the Roots Festival annually. So to hold it by, I mean, we would have created a